National Flight is to handle of the park. Now, approximately how many members of the death squad would you have observed there at night? If you can quantify how many you would have seen, Mr. Sousa, I do not know. They certainly, I would say, made up the majority of the crowd that was there and surrounded the car. But in your statement you have, there were 15 respondents trying to keep the crowd, which clearly suggests that they were vastly outnumbered by the civilians in the crowd gathering. You agree with that?
I'm not sure that those things necessarily follow.
Pardon me?
I'm not sure that those things necessarily follow.
Why? What I'm listening to you? Why are you saying that?
And again, I'm not trying to remember any specific detail that's not in the statements that I gave to the police in 1980 or when I gave the statement. But for the squad to be trying to keep the crowd back, I would not agree that it necessarily followed that the crowd outnumbered the police or citizens.
So 15 men trained in the police force will be trying to keep up a number lesser than 15, less than them, trying to, which suggests that they were experiencing some resistance. So he's saying there were less than 15 men in this crowd providing that kind of resistance to 15 trained squad men. That's what you're saying?
I think that's possible.
You thought it was possible? This is not so. This is, look, you do me a break in there, you talk about there. The slightest occurrence on our public road draws a crowd.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, when you said to Mrs. Stockman that you were one of the first to arrive there, and I know in the area, I know that was impossible. And sure enough, when you look, you see there was a crowd already. But you're trying, and what is you? You are trying to distort the role of the security force to which the Ghana police force in relation to what happened that night. I put it out.
I'm not trying to distort the role of the police. I will say once again that I stand by the statements that I've made and by the evidence that I gave in the inquest when the inquest was held. And I actually do not think that there's any need to distort the behavior or activity of the police on
Because you were doing that in furtherance of the WPA theory that this incident was being monitored or in some way engineered by the security force. So they were on the scene before anything else in the numbers. Isn't that so?
I'm sorry,
That it was engineered by the security force, that's what you're trying to show, that's the picture you're trying to clean.
But Mr. Williams, you put her premise that she is resisting.
No, she hasn't answered it yet. I know what you're not about.
Yes, but that follows the earlier question, the premise of which she resisted.
Which was what?
I will have to do that.
That by the 15 men trying to push back the crowd was in fact less than them.
And that she was trying to distort the role of the police in support of a theory.
Yes.
And she resisted that.
She has
The premise. So the answer constitutes a resistance to the premise.
Okay.
And yet you hold on to the premise and make it the foundation of a further question. That is not proper.
No, I'm putting a further question to herself, but I put a further.
Yes, I'm
not sure what she's saying, Mr. Chairman. I'm putting a further question to her.
You put to a man that he beat his wife. He said, no, it is not true. And you put the further question that after beating her, he concealed the body, when the premise on which you are putting that is already resisted.
I'm sure you want an answer there, sir?
It is not.
To follow your practice, should you want an answer?
No, but you can ask the question as I often do. Saying to the witness, I bear in mind that you have already resisted the theory that you beat your husband. Notwithstanding your resistance, I put X and Y B. Otherwise, it may turn out to be a sort of quick question.
Well, so I don't intend to trick the witness. We all have our different approaches.
All that I would want you to do is to recognize and acknowledge that the premise on which you are proceeding has already been resisted and rejected.
But yes, sir, but I'm recognizing that after each question, sir, I'm having a comment, I'm having a kind of interruption too. So I will try to see if we could go word by word so that you wouldn't have to feel you have to intervene. Because I thought I was asking her fair questions. I know Mrs. Sousa. I don't have no intention of interfering the words. So I say any other WP. So I don't have to ask any trick questions of no. That's not my reputation. Yes. Now, permit me to refer you to page 91 of the record.
Same date?
Same, yes, the same. There's only one day to the specify. Now your question, you will be 1, 2, 3. Chairman D'Souza, Chairman D'Souza. Page 91 from the top. You said I was a lot younger then, and I just seemed to be, here's another challenge. You were referring to the statements of Prime Minister President Bonham there was at Congress. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
Yes. You come allegedly know people at the bar, etc. Period.
What page is that now, sir?
91, sir. That's the witness answer. And she said, here's another challenge. That's what she thought it was.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I have a verbatim note here. I thought the fight was on. I don't know why this is not on the record. Instead, what you have here is another challenge. But I have it written. Pardon me?
That is the money record here.
What is it?
Page 70. There was another challenge.
You have that?
That's right, yeah.
I thought the fight was on. That's what I have for weekly. But here, guys, here's another challenge.
I thought the fight was on is not language that I would ever use. I may have indicated yes in response to someone else saying that, but that's not a phrase that I would
Well, I
use.
don't know. How was Gordon, this is my verbatim. How was Gordon seen by the OPP?
You refer to two different pages here of the record.
No, I'm saying in relation to this question about what was the view of the WPA to the utterances allegedly made by Mr. Gordon at the time. Mr. Sousa had said, I thought the fight was on. In other words, here's another challenge.
If I may, I believe the fight was on is a suggestion that came from Mr. chairman. It's on page 90.
So it came from the chairman.
It's on page 90.
Well, I have that verbatim. Anyway, doesn't
No,
It's at the top of page 90. It's the very first suggestion from Mr. Chairman on page 90.
Yes.
it wasn't a suggestion by the chairman, it was a question.
Fight was on, kind of, but there was very little fight. Be fair to you, I mean, most of my fight tended to be with her kind of straight paint in those days.
Like she said that this morning.
No, it's here, page
No, no, I said
19.
she said that this morning.
I agree with
So
you.
that was up page 490 of the, that.
Yeah, but I alluded to 91.
Yes, sir, Council, I think what happened, you do have a verbatim note of the exchange between herself and the chairman. But something is left out and then we go to page 91. So we're just going back a little further to.
No, I understand that. I'm saying that she's saying that what I said was another challenge. But I'm saying I have a verbatim note that said something that the fight was on.
And that's
She has explained that has been explained.
Yes.
But that's not my trust. My trust is to direct her to the statement here is another challenge. That's why I reported to page 91.
I just wanted to defend the integrity of the transcribers who I think are being faithful to their task.
Yes. And you said
Chair, I think it would be more useful if my defendant referred to his pen notes as the verbatim note.
No,
That
that's
is
not-
employed not just here but internationally.
I think
Because
it's not-
while we accept he may be accurate,
The
we will
record,
not listen.
the record is the record.
Mr. Chairman, we don't want to have a tempest in the teapot. I addressed before you to page 91 and before to the statement I want you to view. As an aside, I said I have a note here. I'm not assorted the note. That was clarified. It doesn't change the trust of what I'm going to do now. And further down, you have, well, another your next answer. It was poetic rhetoric. Yes, and he was very good at that.
Yes, that's Mr.
Now, I get the impression that those statements weren't considered to be earth-shattering or shaking. Is that so?
You mean that
Which
her?
statement?
By you.
Which statement do I have?
Here's another challenge. The same statement, but make your wills and the
comments.
Yes, and she said it's poetic rhetoric and the like. That gives me the impression that you really weren't unduly worried about that, the statement.
At that time, I think statements were serious. But as I said, I was a pretty young person then. So if it did not cause me the same kind of consideration that would cause me now.
Or anxiety.
But it is also true that I was no part of the leadership of the Working People's Alliance in those days.
In fact, my lawyer friend said earlier that you were trading bars. The WPA and the PNC were trading bars.
That's a phrase that could be used, but I'm not sure that a person who is firing rockets and a person who has, a whole battery of missiles,
This is words, no words.
same battery of missiles. I don't know that you can speak about trading bars.
It was like poetry will be in your ears, you say. Poetic rhetoric.
Unfortunately, we don't have the same kind of political rhetoric. No.
Oh, it came over my ears like a sweet song that breathes upon the gospel. Right there. Steal and give it away.
Therefore, are you quoting Mr. Bishop?
Enough, no more. You want to know the Shakespeare song? Yes.
Bishop is many plays. Tragedies or tragedy comedies or comedies?
No, I think that would have been as elected up to man. One of the two. Now, let me refer you to page 73. Page 73. essentially have been finally killed by the government.
I see it.
Of course, you didn't witness the killing.
I didn't.
Of course, you were not in the vehicle when Rodney and was Rodney that time.
That's true.
Neither did you know of any dealings between Deputy Smith and Dr. Rodney.
Correct.
And yet you say you have been fighting here by the government.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
But you would consider that's a fallacious proposition?
Sorry.
Would you consider that would be a fallacious proposition?
I wouldn't say it like that.
Because you're saying that in spite of not being involved, that no other person could have done the act if an act was done.
I would say in the circumstances of the time, no one else had an interest in doing that.
Really? Well, we have on record, and even this morning, Mr. Bunsen said that both the PPP and the PFC are threatened by the WP. Up to this very morning, that was it.
Mr. Chairman, I would kindly ask my learned friend to indicate specifically what was said, because I did think Mr. Williams was trying to get Mr. Guzzi to say that the PPP had handled the killing of Dr. Rodney. So I just want to get this straight to the record.
I don't think this was an answer to my question that I was saying. I think it might be an answer to what your question.
Not at all.
But do you agree that there were other players at that time who might very well have felt that the good doctor was a threat?
Yeah, that word used by the man said not that he was concerned for PPP against.
Threat, yes.
Did he use threat?
Sorry, sure, that's this morning.
Yes,
But that has been said on different occasions here.
Well, let's see what reason what was said.
Well, it's a question of record. They could get the record. Or I understood that the statement was made that it was a threat to both the PSC, the WP, and the PPP.
Commissioner Ponce, you have to put up what you said this morning.
This morning, it was said by Mr. Bunsi.
I believe what we have recorded here is the proposition in relation to the three theories. And when the three theories were being put, I believe one in relation to the PPP was rejected.
No. Listen to me carefully. I heard and I remember Mr. Bunsi was being questioned by someone else and said that the WPA was a threat to both the PPP and the PNC. It was not an answer to me.
I thought he liked the action on the part of the former president, Jacob, to that of the PNC leader. But if somebody could assist me with their note, that was probably that other note. Maybe, but I don't have it here. I don't see it here.
But Commissioner, I think I had asked Mr. Sosa whether Dr. Walter Rodney was considered a threat to both the PNC and PDP.
And this answer was there?
Yes.
Yes, the answer was there.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Yes, so there you have it. Not from me. So that's another option. You agree with that?
I don't.
In fact, it might be the ideal situation if all is pointed at the PNC for someone else to come in and do a passive react to blame the PNC. You agree with that?
I do not.
You do not?
What I said.
But you had a Russian KGB agent at the Pegasus that came out in evidence.
Is there evidence that she knows that?
Pardon me? No, but I would suggest to her that came out in evidence that it was a Russian KGB agent operating and doing certain things out of Pegasus at that time.
I would want to be careful because he does have a name which sounds.
Brashnov,
But I don't.
Brash, not Brash.
But I don't think his nationality or ethnicity was really established. He was an agent. and
No, they said he was a Russian. My Commissioner,
Russia was
a Russian. We go forget that. We go forget it. He said it was KGB.
Yes,
He said it was the
in other
KGB.
words, the person who said his name was Reichman claims to be KGB.
Yeah, but they said he was a Russian.
That's the evidence.
They said he was a Russian. Yes. What I put to you, Mrs. Susan, there were other actors who could be favored if, in fact, Mr. Rodney was murdered. Do you agree with that?
Mr. Williams, in 1979, 1980, and even after, whatever political differences there may have been between the existing parties at that time, the only party that offered physical threat to the WPA and members of the WPA was the governing party, the PNC. The PVP was in no position to arrest me, to lock me up in any police station, fire me, or anybody else. So you know, the confusion of many players is a good convenience, but I'm saying that in terms of the presiding authority, in terms of the paramount authority of the day, it was the PNC. And it was the government.
Yeah, Governor Rodney, who would have left that vehicle only minutes ago, came and told you the first person he spoke to that there was a terrible accident. He never said somebody killed Walter. Do you agree with that?
Mr. Williams, you know, we could back and forth about
No, you're not back and forth.
words may have been.
You need to ask my question. You're not back and forth. You just ask the question. Do you agree that in spite of all what you are trying to say,
No, all that
And
I'm
it's
saying,
conclusion.
everything that I am saying, all that I'm trying,
just wait for the question, please. And this conclusion, essentially, the government finding value, is not supported by Dr. Rodney's statement that there was a terrible accident. I put it out to you.
and I would say that my conclusion is supported by my own experience and by my encounter with Rodney.
And what about you? What the position you arrived at has no basis for any support for your conclusion.
Please repeat that.
I'm saying what you're contending is unsupported. Not support. Yes,
And that's generally the I guess the failed failing in many courts of law.
Alright.
The truth is very often
Alright.
not supported by justice with evidence.
I'm putting it to you, that would be part of the rest, yes, right. Donald Rodney's statement to you shatters all the theories that WBA.
But Mr. Williams, we have the record here in TA that was standard at the Mark LG/CID/WR2. The very last document in my file appears to be a statement from Donald Rodney. And the penultimate paragraph, this is what he says. I'll read the full thing so you can all follow. I realized then that there had been an explosion. The statement says, and I suppose it means on, water inside the car, and that he was seriously injured. I thought immediately of getting help for him. I pushed back the driver's door with one hand and ran north along John Street to the home of Dr. Kumawale on Crow Street. When I arrived there, I shouted and the door was opened by someone whom I told that something terrible had happened in my car at John and Atkins Street, and that Walter was still there and needed help. I understand what she has said, but we have a different version here from Donald.
Sir, with the greatest of respect, I've never seen Donald Rodney. He has not come to this commission. The person we deal with is Mr. Souza, who has testified before and is now coming for cross-examination. I am dealing with evidence. I have not had the opportunity to cross-examine any Donald Rodney.
And you see, I thought you were here to assist us, and I thought I would draw your attention.
No, I understand that, sir. But I'm saying, we don't know the origins of the statement. I don't know when the statement was made. All those things will be dealt with when the time comes. But I'm saying, for this witness, unless we're going to say that the witness, something is irrelevant, because the witness may, what if they set the first part of the resistance right? He left there and went straight to her. And she is saying to us, all those years ago that he said, there's been a terrible accident, and then when Andrea came downstairs, he repeated the same statement to Andrea. There's been a terrible accident.
Mr. Williams, that's the thing that the rare people speak. Something happened on the road, no cars tonight, let's say. And the report is that it was a terrible accident from somewhere this happened. It is only years later that somebody is found criminally liable or when we are fined by the court that one driver was 75% liable and the other 25%. But the general description before the detailed investigation is concluded and even the trial is that there was a terrible accident that took place and 4 people died.
I agree with you.
Really speak.
I agree with you to some extent that in a road traffic accident, this was a bomb explosion, basically. And I don't, if Donald Rodney had suspected that a third party had even as much as thrown about inside the vehicle or in some way was concerned with that, Donald Rodney would have gone there and even if he said a terrible accident, he would have explained subsequently or should have been asked by Mr. Souza. So what is going on here? I am saying this was not a road traffic accident. So when he said a terrible accident occurred, it conjures up all kinds of things. But one thing is sure, he knew that there was an explosion in his car. He did not go to the police station. He passed the police station. By the way, let me put this on record. Do you agree, Mr. Souza, that to reach you from the scene of the explosion, Donald Rodney had to pass the Ghana police station?
No, I don't.
No, you don't want.
I do not agree with that.
Don't you have, if you're coming from